Alright guys, ignore my hair. My bangs, I cut them a little while ago. Cut them too short. And I'm still waiting for them to grow. What is this weird obsession with with girls specifically trying to get an abortion, right? Or let's say in this example, a young girl, let's just say 13 to 16, right? Obviously it extends past that and before that, but this is just my example. It's so weird when people are like, consequences have actions and shit like that. I'm like, what are you talking about? The consequence of her action, aka either getting assaulted or just having unprotected sex, right? Those are the only two ways a woman can get pregnant, right? And my thing is, the girl 13, 16, right? She doesn't want to be pregnant, and she shouldn't be pregnant, right? And she shouldn't have a kid. Obviously, at that point, if she knows she's pregnant, that's already enough punishment, right? She already has to deal with that stress. So why on top of that would you make it so that a child, a kid, is having a kid and stopping them from getting an abortion? What is this mentality that people have where it's like, oh, she needs to learn, and she can't take the easy way out. Abortions aren't easy. They're mentally taxing, which I'm assuming, I'm not a girl. I've never had an abortion, so they're expensive. I've heard from my mom. I haven't really looked that up. And it's just, it's a whole thing. It's an abortion. Like, come on, let's be serious, right? Like, let's be, and it's just so weird. And then we have all these things where people are like, specifically conservatives and like people who align themselves with conservatives, they're like so anti-abortion, and it's just so weird. It's like, first of all, you're not them, so why do you care? Why do you care what these people do with their bodies, their own bodies, right? Secondly, what are they hurting? Who are they hurting? Genuinely, it's, first of all, I understand women, in my opinion, they shouldn't be allowed to have an abortion after the brain is developed, right? After the baby's brain, and there's, activity going on there. Because at that point, yeah, I can see how people can argue how that is a living being. But the heart, the lungs, the fucking feet, the blood vessels, no. None of that shit matters with the brain. You are your brain, right? We are our brains. We're just piloting this meat suit, right? We are our brains. If we didn't have brains, we wouldn't be people, right? And if we were only a brain, then we're not losing anything besides, obviously our physical mobility, right? A brain can't move, obviously. And another thing that they try and say is when they're like, she just wants an abortion, she's using it as a contraceptive. Yes, I agree. Some people do that, and I disagree with that. It shouldn't be used as a contraceptive. But at that point, if they've had like more than 2 abortions, even one is arguable, 2 is like, okay, after that point, it's like, just let them at that point. You know what I mean? Like, they're an adult. They can make their own stupid decisions, right? That stupid decision being using it as a contraceptive. The only time I will see it being used as a contraceptive is when it's a kid having a kid. A 13-year-old, 12-year-old, 11-year-old, 10-year-old, just a kid having a kid. That's when I agree it should be used as a contraceptive if the baby already has its brain, right? Because at that point, it's like, that's a kid having a kid. Why are you punishing a kid for making a stupid choice? You know what I'm saying? And there's gonna be some people where they're like, oh, a stupid choice and getting pregnant are 2 different things. Obviously, but at the end of the day, it's still a stupid choice, right? For a kid, maybe, and sometimes it's not a choice that they make. They just get raped and assaulted, right? That's not their fault. That's not on them. That decision doesn't fall on them. There's a lot of people who just, oh, I don't care if the female gets raped. They say female and women or woman. These are little girls that people are mostly talking about. Yes, adults obviously get raped, but most of the time it's young girls trying to get an abortion. Like, do you understand how insane people are for trying to make these kids have a kid? Are you fucking serious? That is so disgusting. That is so horrendously disgusting. Never in my entire life, as a guy, or no, as a person, because that whole argument is stupid. As a person, I will never, ever agree to make abortions illegal. That is a basic human right, and everyone who doesn't think that is a fucking idiot.